Alright, so I'm gonna get started in the Final Fantasy VIII preview now. So, Love Guided by the Stars. Obviously, not the right name. As some hetero says in chat right now, it's called The Fault in Our Stars, which, as usual, sounds considerably worse than the fan translation. So, starting off, we got no new characters, but Rinoa might as well be, as she finally gets a powerful relic with some staying power for the first time in forever. The last time she had a good relic was her BSB when we used it when the Ifrit Moat Dungeon came out. Oh, you were trolling? Okay. Well, I just seriously don't. A special that's bad too. A special place is bad too. But Rinoa's BSB was good for the Ifrit CM by RWing it, so it's not like it was worth having her at all at that point either. So she's never been good until now. We got 2 new Legend Eyes for Seifer and Fujin. And I just wrote out totals instead of going over like a chart or something. We see he gets attack, defense, resistance, Knight staples, minor confuse resist, minor dark resist. Again, really typical, and dark damage plus 9%, which is, I mean, this is just a typical Night Dive, a dark Night Dive. Next up, we have Fujin. Gets a nice, healthy 40 magic chunk. That's nice. Minor sleep, minor wind resist. This is unfortunate, but I think a lot of people get an elemental resist. It's just, yeah. Resistances override each other, so, and because minor is so weak, if you're going to be resisting, you're generally going to be using an elemental resistance. The only time that this comes in handy is when you're resisting an element against a boss that's also doing wind damage, so you actually do at least have like a 10-15% reduction. I don't remember which one of those two it is, but obviously you like the fact that she has 9% wind damage and 40 magic. That's great. Sorry, I don't understand the 20 attack. She uses Stitch in Time. Whatever. New Legend Materia. Seifer Legend Materia 1, Dark Damage. Legend Materia 2 grants Last Stand and re-raise. We don't even know how severe this is yet. Maybe we do. Now that, or we will once the banner arrives, but whatever. Neither of these are very good. This is just a typical Legend Materia 1, and the Legend Materia 2 is meh. Jelly Soup, thank you very much for the follow. So, Seifer's Legend Materia... I'll wait for that to go away. Seifer's Legend Materia are, not that great. Legend Fujin, though, gets Sharp Wind, increased wind damage, sure. 30% chance to cast Quick Cast 3 to the user after using a wind attack. That's actually pretty good. It would have to be the Quick Cast 3 variety, not the LMR version, because it's weird because everything Fujin does is pretty much... I didn't make any pulls. Half cast or lower. So by granting her Quick Cast 3, you're just further reducing that. I think half cast is 0.83 cast time. So Quick Cast would reduce those ninja casts to 0.41. So, at least better than what Seifer's rocking. Nothing real all that special, though. I did do a 100 gem, that is true. So, we're going to get to Banner 1 now. And we start out with Squall's USB. Let's see, we have a Realm Synergy plus Ice Sword. Soul Break, Brutal Shell, Ice Non-Elemental, 9 single attacks at 0.83 each, grants High Quick Cast 2 and XC to the user. What I'm going to start doing for a lot of statuses, because this is my own website now, I get to do some cool stuff to it. So Xseed and High Quick Cast 2 are the statuses that are granted to by this USB, and because I have a key status Xseed listed below it, what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to start using tooltips, and I have the tooltip for High Quick Cast 2. It grants quick cast speed ×3 and lasts for 2 turns because it's Quick Cast 2. So that's what I'm going to start doing for a lot of the statuses that show up on these, because I think it's a lot cleaner. Because not a lot of people need to know what High Quick Cast 2 does now, or they won't after the first time they see it. And it's a better presentation, less clutter, and there's a lot of information here. So I've decided to go in that route. So what it does is it grants that High Quick Cast and Xseed to the user, and key statuses are Xseed grants Blasting End after using 2 Spellblade abilities for 15 seconds. And a key effect, which would be the Blasting End that's mentioned here, is physical. Oh, I didn't cut that down. I should have. 4 group attacks for 0.65 each. So that's a total of what, 2.6? This is why his USB is generally considered to be poor. It's okay. It's fine. But remember, we don't evaluate things about how good it is. We evaluate things not in an absolute way, but in a relative way. We compare it against other people's USBs in the same tier. In Squall, a direct comparison would be Lightning. She is Lightning version, but he's Ice. And hers is fantastic. His is weird and probably bad. Not probably bad, it's generally considered quite bad. And the reason for that is it requires 2 Spellblade uses. Do I suggest fully Legend Diving Fusion or just hoping to have the LMR? I'd say the LMR. She's an option. But remember, she is one of the mages that takes Bravery Motes, and Bravery Motes are pretty hotly contested. So be careful there. I personally have no plans on diving Fusion, even though Fusion's probably one of my best characters and will be for a very long time. It's because of the stuff she has, and her strength isn't augmented as much by her Legend Materia as some people are. Some people gain a lot more benefit from them, and that's where that's going to be going for me. So the problem with Blasting End is that it's after using 2 Spellblade abilities, and it lasts 15 seconds. Remember that we generally consider turns to take about 4 to 5 seconds to complete. That is a good question. I do not believe so. Because of the same interaction. Man. I can't say with certainty. If I would guess, I would say no, because of this. I feel like it is a similar interaction to a chase. And the fact, say you're using Bartz's USB, for example, and you use a Fire Spellblade, and you dual cast the Fire Spellblade, it only chases once afterwards. This is obviously a different mechanic, but if it operates in the same way that Chase does, the dual cast does not affect it. Are Squall's BSB2 commands Spellblade? Yes, they are. But really, either you're hoping for one of 2 things. 1, the mechanic means that a double cast is 2 casts. Or 2, you have some kind of quick cast or insta-cast available to you. So you can fit in a second proc of Blasting End during this 15 seconds. Because remember what we said is that turns... Sir Baked Potato, thank you very much for the follow. Turns generally last about a little more than 4 to 5 seconds each. So if you're using Spellblades, you're generally just straight up. You're not going to be able to hit this 15 seconds. So you're only going to get 1 Blasting End use. That's only a 2.6 multiplier. Not that good of a benefit. It would be more of a benefit if you get the total 5.2. If you get 2 Blasting End procs during this 15 seconds. Don't look at these. These are just, it's a template, so I can create more of these in the future. I'm not going to go over the descriptions. Recurrence, I do believe it does recur in 30th Anniversary Festival, which is unsure anyway. Oh yeah, it does have high quick cast too. What am I? Oops. Oh no, the description. Oh, you like, this is my description? Well, I do too. But in the future, when I make these, I will actually put out a description. Because what it does is it focuses me, and I spend less time talking about it because I've already done the preparation. Yeah. So I would have already researched a lot of this beforehand. You're right, because of the quick cast too. It's still not considered that good. It is only high quick cast too. I think that's probably the problem here, and why stuff like Lightning's is so much better. Because she gets high quick cast, or even just quick cast, every time you used an ability to keep that chain going for the entire 15 seconds would be more beneficial than just 2 flat charges. And I think that's the problem a lot of people have with it. And remember, you would need to you would want very much to use this with the burst soul break too. Because this does not grant an ice. It's not good. I don't think this is good. It doesn't sound good. It sounds janky, and it's limited because it's group attacks. I think that's kind of interesting, but it's interesting in the same way that Edgar's OSB is interesting. Put it that way. He has a area of effect chase. And that's going to be useful sometimes. But it's just more neat than anything. So this isn't a very good USB. And we move on to another one that I don't believe is terribly good. We have the Almasi Flame Tongue. However, God, I love that word. I love however. There's a defining characteristic of this sword, and that it is plus fire all realms. And a plus fire all realms sword at this point in the game will be unique and will only be joined by a second relic a few events after in the Final Fantasy 15 event, Gladiolus's OSB. So that's actually a pretty neat relic. So would not be unhappy at all to get this. So we got Dark Fire, 7 single. Multiplier increases as HP decreases, grants attached stock to the user, and restores HP to the user for 70% of their maximum HP. It's kind of interesting. Not terribly useful yet, but it may be kind of useful once we get access to the better darkness abilities, which would be Dire Weapon and Crimson Cross. That's what they're currently called. It may be called something different when they get here, but for now it's not that good because it's just a super soul break that gives them attached dark. The HP restore isn't really that significant. Well, I mean, it is a significant percentage heal, but it's not, the power level of it isn't that great because it's just to him, and it really would depend on him properly making use of Crimson Cross and then getting lucky, really. Because then you need to use the soul break and hope that you're not going to die. So if you got some sort of last stand in the party, and I understand that as LM2 gives them last stand and re-raise, I don't think there's much case you can make other than the fact that you're a Seifer fanatic for using his Legend Materia. So, yeah. That's the 2 USBs on the banner. We have a nice relic, and then we have something that's not really all that desirable. We have Squall's BSB2. I think a lot of us know what this does now. It's just attach ice, strong entry, and you use the draw injunction to enhance the capability of your command 2. If you've not used draw injunction at all, you get 4 attacks, but every time you use it, you advance 1 on the chain. So if you use it once, 5, second, 6, and if you use C1 3 times, you get 7 attacks. So what you generally want to do, since we most of the time, and Squall's no exception. Wow. I had to dig deep for that word. You would use C1 3 times and C2 twice. Unless you get, like, dual cast procs on this portion, then you can use more of these. So, you know how that works. It's really good. And really powerful. C for BSB is not, however. Dark non-elemental, 8 single attacks, grants haste, sentinel, and burst mode to the user. The sentinel tooltip. Taunt single target physical and BLK attacks for 25 seconds. Command 1 is Desperate Madness. Dark non-elemental, darkness, 4 single attacks. The ratings are all locked at 50. It's not permanent, it'll only last for the Type 0 event. 0.56 each, and grants Desperate Madness and Radiant Shield stacking, depending on how many times you use Command 1. So, 3 uses of Command 1 would get you up to 175 Radiant Shield just for him. And Desperate Madness reduces his defense by 50% and reduces his resistance by 25% for 30 seconds. And C2 is Downfall is just your typical Dark Knight Drain commands. 1 hit and heals the user for 20% of the damage dealt. God. Timings. With bursts, you want to use the burst command the moment that it becomes active in order to get your 5 actions in. If you're having problems getting that 5 and you're only getting 4 with a character. Pretty bad? No, it's actually really good. Yeah, it's really good. It's Terra's USB, except that it lasts 15 seconds instead of 25. Terra's is just insane. And it will never be duplicated. I don't believe any other USB provides the 25-second X-Mode buff. Ace's is just standard and really good. Like, consider Sarah just got a USB in Japan this week, 4.5 months from now, that does the exact same thing as Ace's USB. So, moving on. We have Quistis' BSB. This is an oldie but a goodie. It's poison, rare, element, pretty nice. And it's just strong. It has a Stitch in Time command. I definitely need to create a tooltip for Stitch in Time. People need to know what that does. But that's plus 30% magic and minus 30% defense. But really, the defining characteristic of this is poison, rare, and it's a support mage. And Quistis has a lot of value as a character because of her vast ability pool. So it's very simple and why it's good, but it works very well. So we're moving into the LMR now after getting through the 3 bursts. Relic Bracer, sure. Grants attach ice at the beginning of the battle. It's good. It's good with his USB, thank goodness, right? I tend to skew towards that, though. Like what I was said about Squall's USB is because there are so many USBs that are better than it, it falls behind the pack. But there's a difference between Ace's USB and Terra's USB there, because Terra is the outlier, not Ace. Ace is just a typical very strong mage burst or USB, while Terra takes it a step above that no one else can touch. So attach ice at the beginning of battle. It's good. It's good with his USB, and it's good with his BSB too. This is definitely very, very good. I like it. Next up, we have Seifer's LMR. Seifer's, guys, I don't know what the relic is actually called. kind of winged it, and I said it's going to be called Seafor's Guise because it was translated to Seafor's model, and I know they haven't used that for a single piece of armor. Anyway, it's plus dark, so it's a nice relic, but the LMR itself is bad. Seafor just gets really bad Legend Materia, I suppose. Laguna's Super Soul Break 2, Seafor's Romper. That, please tell me that's it. I want it to be that. That would light up my life. So this is a good super, especially because it's on Laguna, who has both access to Icicle Shot, and eventually will have access to the 5-star Machinist Ice ability. Great. Great, great, great. So, I mean, I think I used too many greats there, because I am talking about a Super Soul Break, but supers like this benefit from the ability upgrade, and he can actually be a legitimately good and paralyzed source on a party because of it. Laguna actually is a good character. It's scary but true. Seafor's Super Soul Break 2 is more of a Sid mission, jumpstart kind of super, but what's nice about it is it's a plus dark bracer, so that's actually a really good relic. I'm very happy that I have my 8-star version of that I picked up on the Fusion banner. We have Dark Lightning Wind. 8 single attacks, does a lot of damage. Defense minus 30% to the user. He's got a real theme going on with that. And attack and magic plus 30% to all allies for 25 seconds. Jumpstart, Sid mission. That's what that's for. Quistis is Red Scorpion. This is a really, really oldie. One of the first supers in the game, but it's still really good for a super because Heiska, it can't be denied with defenses, Shell, and High Regen. It's just a really good Sid mission and likely jumpstart Legend Materia. Not like Super Soul Break. And next up we have yet another good super. Selfie's Timeless. Magic Blink Medica. Dream Stage. I have it and I still use it to this day. So that's that banner. I will go over the summaries at the end, TLDR. So banner 2, and this is the one that I'm excited about, is it starts out with Renoa's CSB. I mentioned this at the beginning of the preview. Called Conformer here. I don't know what it'll be called when it comes to us, but it's just a thrown weapon, so whatever. However, the Soul Break itself is Ice, 11 single, minimum whatever. Ice Chain, plus 20%, and grants quick cast to all allies. This is the Ice Chain that is in the game until very, very far from now, when we get Snow's physical Ice Chain. But this is what we got for Ice, and it's very good. It's nice. Renoa's a witch, so she can take advantage of that. She can use Chain Blazzaga. She can use Shiva if you want. She can use Valley Garmanda. She's a really good mage to carry the Ice Chain. It's scary. But yeah, I'd be really thrilled. Really thrilled to get this. I would rate this highly. Probably at 80. Because although she's a good carrier for the chain, she herself doesn't have a whole lot else going for her. So it's not one of the better chains. Well, no, it is. It is a good chain. It is one of the better chains. It's not... Nah, you know what? I guess I'd be torn between 80 and 90 if I was rating this in preparation. Anyway, moving on. Fusion's OSB. Unfortunately, it's RS locked plus wind thrown weapon. That stinks. It means the best relic that Fusion can use is still her dagger, her regular Soul Break dagger. And barring that, if you don't have access to it, the only relic that is accessible... Yeah, her OSB is Earth, but that doesn't really matter. Her OSB has nothing to do with the chain. Oh yeah, Fusion BSB is the only weapon left in the game that Fusion can use that gives her plus wind damage. That's good. Her best, the best one. But this is a good OSB. When non-elemental, breaks damage cap, 42.5 multiplier, and if exploiting elemental weakness, which you should be. Unless you're hitting a neutral boss, and we have found out that neutral bosses are a whole lot of fun. In which case, just use your BSB again if you want. Or use your OSB and have a reduced multiplier, whatever. Could be. I think she'd suck, though. I mean, if she had the Earth Chain, that would just suck. Yeah, Fujin's OSB is good. It's just an OSB. I don't need to talk about it a lot. You guys know what OSBs do. Next up, we have Renoa's BSB2. More stuff for Renoa. However, this is not as valuable as her CSB is. Just a thrown weapon. Angel Wing Ice Tomb. 8 group attacks, grants haste, attach ice, and burst mode to the user. Typical. Exactly, Marista. That's what I was going for. So first command is ice non-elemental black magic for single attacks, and it's the multiplier on its scales with how much magic you have. So if you have 1200 magic, then it becomes. Is that really a 10.2 multiplier? So it's kind of weak. It's a weak attack that becomes normal when you have 1200 magic. Great. I'm sure we're all thrilled about that. So this is probably why a lot of people don't really care for this that much. Was the keeper thing being gone discussed? Yes. Command 2, Trucewell Mage Ruin. Which... Magic minus 40%, so it's kind of a weak magic breakdown. Not quite magic break, not quite magic breakdown. It's in between. For 20 seconds, at least it's 20 instead of 15. And magic plus 30% to the user. Well, great. Now we can get that plus 20, or that 1200 magic, and bring our command up to normal levels. I'm so happy about that. And in order to do that, if anyone hasn't noticed, this command doesn't do damage. There's no damage component. Yay. So this BSB, while serviceable for a rare-ish element, is okay that it shows up here, but it's not gonna contend with the real heavy players. I have no idea. I have no idea why it's a witch school. So moving on, we get to Fujin's BSB. And as I said, thrown weapon, plus wind. Good. It's probably better to have her chain and then use Chain Blizzaga once it gets upgraded to 4 hits. And then just chain again when you have the ability to. I think in order to have her chain and use her BSB together, you'd need to entrust Renoa. I just want you to roll that around in your head a little bit. Entrusting Renoa. I would never do that. I promise you I've got your back if you want to, though. Next up, we have the Soulbreak Metsu. Wind, non-elemental, 0 cast time, 5 group. Great. She's Area of Effect, Magical Von. Reduces magic and resistance by 40%. Awesome. Grants haste burst mode. Ninja cast time commands, as noted. Black magic 4 single. It's great. Love that half cast time. That's what we're talking about. C2 Hakai is also kind of nice, but it's only a single attack, so you're probably just only going to do 10,000 damage. You're generally going to be hitting a lot more damage with this. So if you're going to be using C2, in order to reduce their resistance by minus 30%, you need to make sure that you have other mages in the party that can take advantage of this. Otherwise, it's probably not worth it. Dervish got increased Soulbreak generation with all the rest of the 6-star abilities. Next up, we have the real Ice Burst Soulbreak, and one that just doesn't get dethroned. Ever. Not even by the nice burst that Sarah got for her BSB too. They go hand in hand together, but if you want Ice Burst, this is Ice Burst. We have just a plain old thrown weapon. It's Ice Dark. Unfortunate that's not an elemental, but apparently she can help in dark fights. And I probably will start using her in dark fights instead of VIII, just because she does so much more damage. Anyway, 8 single, grants haste, attach, ice, and burst mode to the user. And here is the command one that is shared by only 2 other people in the game. Not Shantoto, Papalimo and Maria. Black magic does 3, 4, 5, or 6 single attacks, depending on how much magic she has. So if you have 1205 magic or greater, she will do 6 attacks for a 12.0 multiplier. Adia is a darkness mage, so she has access to Memento Mori, and she has access to Stitch in Time on her second command, and she has burst mode. So she actually, by herself, has access to 30% magic buff, 30% magic buff, and a 20% magic buff. All you need is 1 Faithka in the party, providing her with outside magic, and she hits her 6 attacks. That's it. So this looks intimidating, but it is not for Adia. She's extremely capable of hitting it by herself. I'm sorry. So the fact that she can self-buff and have this amazing command, yeah, this is one of the bursts that laughs at the ability upgrade that we'll eventually be getting. Laughs at it. So moving on to the LMR, we have Bracer, Minor Fire Resist, whatever. Magic plus 1% for each hit dealt with damaging BLK attacks up to 20%. This is awful. Moving on, we have Fusion's LMR, Bracer plus Wind. That's nice. A Bracer that gives plus Wind. Grants attached Wind at the beginning of battle, and that is also nice. What this allows her to do is, instead of starting out the battle, in situations like, say, in Jumpstart, how I usually run Fusion in Jumpstart is I will use BSB, then use Command 1, Command 1, Command 1, until we get to a point in the battle where we need to push the boss down, then I'll use Super Soul Break, and then BSB, because this Super gives her Attached Wind. But what this allows you to do, start the battle with Attached Wind, and just go crazy right out of the gates. And it doesn't actually just have Jumpstart potential. It also can be used with Raging Storm to start out a battle by using that 5-star ninja ability to do a lot of damage just with a regular attack, and then start out by using her BSB, which will get to plus 80% damage. It's just a really, really nice LMR for her. It's nice. So that goes together well with her LM2, which is the chance to grant her quick attacks, or quick cast 3. Yeah. Remember, that's something I failed to mention when I went over Legend Materia at first. Quick cast 3. It's not quick magical attacks 3. So if it procs, you could potentially use Fusion as a great RW caster, because she'll be able to cast the RW at half cast speed. Always be out on the lookout for that on anything that provides party instant cast or quick cast, the global variety that can be used on anything, because cutting down the cast time on your RWs is very potent. So that's our LMR. And next up we have Renoa's Super Soul Break 2, which is a plus Earth Light Armor. So right out of the gate, I don't even care what the Super does. That's awesome. Because this is very, very rare at this point. And I know a lot of people may have tried pulling on the Keeper's Choice Banner 2 today, and pulled the Gaia gear off of it, but I don't suggest you do that, because there will be more Earth Armor entered into the game. That was something that people did way, way back when we didn't have any Earth Armor at all, but we're getting more Earth Armor now, and this is one of them. Renoa's Super Soul Break 2, this is the second occurrence of it, and it's likely to come back more. Supers aren't dead yet, but anyway, that's a really great relic. And the Soul Break itself is actually not that bad. Earth and Elemental 5 group, and grants attached Earth to the user. This is something to throw in the bank for the eventual introduction of the 4-hit Chain Stonega So this would actually be fairly useful in those situations. Next up, we have another really good super, and that is Wind Light Armor. Soul Break Zan, Wind Non-Elemental, 8 single attacks, grants attached wind to the user. I use this all the time. This is amazing on Fusion. She generates so much Soul Break, and she can use this in normal fights because of how much Soul Break she generates. Using this together with her BSB is already really powerful. And then if you throw in the fact that it's +1 light armor, this is actually a really desirable relic. And it being one of the 2%ers, I meant to go like that, not 0. Okay. Okay, we like. Next up, Raijin Super Soul Break, Light Armor plus Lightning. Again, a nice relic. Soul Break Ura grants Instacast 1, Last Stand, and High Regen all allies. That's... I mean, I've talked about this before. I'm not going to continue to do so now. This is a good super. This is a very good super. Anything that gives Instacast 1 to the party is really effective. Even Veins. Very, very, very good. And it is an awesome relic at the same time. So you can't go wrong there. So, yeah. Plus Earth, plus Wind, plus Lightning on all 3 of the 2%ers. That makes it a low-risk banner. Low risk in a game that is designed to make everything a high risk. Last up, and thank goodness this is the 1 out of 14, we get Adia's Super Soul Break 2. Dark, 5 single attacks, causes Imperil Dark 20%. Will be more effective once we get 4-hit Darkness abilities for mages, because Dark Zone and Dire Heal aren't that great for this right now, but at least this is the 1%, and it's not a great relic either, so that's great. That's great. So, now we do the banner overview, which is a physicalized focus on Banner 1, Physical Dark and Magical Poison, Medica and Utility, and a good CM low end. Remember, the CM low end was Quistis' super, which is nice. I am required to add Apocalypsis Aquarius. I did not add that to the list. It may have been too similar to something. Hold on, I'll get it going. Alright, it's queued up. Congratulations, Z-Rock. It's a hell of a 100 gem. Next up, we have Banner 2, Magical Ice Focus, and Magical Wind. Almost entirely magical with a large amount of elemental equipment, complementary low end. I think I understated the low ends. The fact that all 3 of the 2%ers on the banner are elemental gear, making them not just complementary and not just Sid mission, but also all realm potential because of how powerful elemental relics are, especially armor. All 3 of them are armor. That is just an awesome low end. One we don't see very often. So, Magical Ice Focus or Physical Ice Focus. And now we get to my little summary here. Until the next Final Fantasy VIII event or Superfest, these 2 banners will be the most concentrated places to find tools for your nascent ice team. The banners only ask you whether you want physical or magical. Banner 2 has an advantage here because its supplement is the excellent Wind Mage Fusion, while the first is stuck with an average tier Dark Knight and Seifer. In fact, due to Banner 2's abundance in elemental equipment, notably on its low end to soften the blow of not drawing your most desired relics, it's difficult to find any advantage the first holds at all. The only one that comes to mind is the fact that the CM Trinity exists on the low end, with a Buska Faithka, a Medica, and a Heiska. This stuff will make CMs a joke, but you could argue that the magical power of the second banner will do just as well of a job with the right RW to assist, and a low end that contributes in any synergy due to elemental equipment. Rating Banner 2 higher than the first is an easy decision here. Renoa's CSB and Adia's BSB are 2 of the most powerful ice tools we have available, and will have available for a very long time. And Fusion claims the same for Winds, absolutely. Renoa's BSB2 is a competent and fine constellation if you miss her CSB. Ultimately, due to Squall's lackluster X-Seed and the presence of Seifer, the first banner can't compete, but is still an option if you're in the game to develop Squall and prefer physical ice. Leave a little pry. So, how does everyone feel about it? I got some work to do. That's why I haven't made the website public yet. Yes, the Keeper banner did get fixed. Me too. I don't know who the chump that wrote all this crap, but they should be fired. Me too. I like that. I'm happy I went through the trouble of figuring out how to do that. Banner 2 is a very good banner. If you're in the market for ice, it's a great place to get it. And winds too. Fusion's one of the best wind mages. Though a lot of people are more invested in physical wind, and that's understandable. But Fusion can contribute to a lot of mage parties just because of the way she's built and her resistance reducing habits.